Hello. Thank you for coming to this interview. Please state your name, or if you wish to be identified as anonymous, you can do that as well.
Uh, my name's Iris Dekker. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm fine with my name being used.
Okay, could you tell me a bit about yourself?
Yeah, as I said, I'm from the Netherlands, so I might struggle a bit with getting my sentences out in perfect English because I do have to do some minor translation in between. Um, but yeah, I'm currently 19, turning 20, and I'm a student in college. I'm following a video game study, and yeah, I'm autistic, which is where most of my issues with accessibility come from.
Okay, thank you. And speaking of accessibility, what does accessibility mean to you?
Accessibility is, for me and many others, a way we can get through life easier. Um, or at least with the same amount of ease, a lot of people that don't have our issues with accessibility uh, don't have to deal with. Like, I myself am easily overwhelmed, so stuff like being able to wear earbuds wherever and like other such stuff, like quiet spaces, are amazing for me. Um, but yeah, like accessibility is just a means to survive in certain situations and in other situations to be able to just do stuff other people also can that I can't naturally. Yeah.
Okay. So, could you tell me about a specific time where you either experienced inaccessibility or where something was very accessible, just where accessibility was very important to the situation?
Well, I'm gonna just keep it on go with a positive note, which was my old school, which I went to before college. Um, like our school system in the Netherlands is quite a bit different than over there in the Americas. Because um, instead of doing the same high school for everyone, over here you actually get separated directly after um, everyone like turns 10, 11-ish, where you can separate it into like different levels of smarts, basically. I got sent into the highest level of it all, VWO, VWO, which is an acronym for for like basically scientific stuff. They expect you with that to be able to go into scientific careers like being a doctor and stuff. I never went to be a doctor. Like I probably shouldn't ever have gone with VWO because I got stressed out so badly that it made me sick in one of the years, and like I failed one of my years, which I had to retake then later. Um, but I was very lucky that my school gave me a lot of accessibility, especially after I failed one of my years and got myself sick from stress. Um, specifically, in my exam year, um, we normally have all of our exams in 1 week for all of our subjects. Also known as like everyone has like at least 2 or 3 exams a day, with some people getting unlucky and having some people actually getting lucky and only having one exam a day. And my teacher realized that like first of all, I have some massive issues keeping track of time and memorizing schedules and locations and stuff like that. And secondly, the workload that it would give, especially if I managed to get like unlucky and have 3 exams on a day, would probably overwhelm me to the point that I would not be able to pass my exams. Um, so she and the rest of the school discussed and actually gave me an accessibility option to change my exam schedule. It wouldn't mean that I was at a disadvantage in getting my grades and signing up for a retake, or maybe even back then we were looking if I could even take a retake after, which would have been terrible. Um, but yeah, like they like proposed to me that I could change my exam schedule, and we were looking into that. Of course, due to the time I graduated being the time of Corona, my exams got cancelled. I passed without my exams, um, which was on one hand mildly annoying because I was studying for them the entire year, but on the other hand, I was kind of low key glad because even with the accessibility option, that exam was still stressing me out and stuff like that. But having that accessibility option for like laid out for me, the fact that they were willing to change part of the schedule and they probably would have wanted to change it for another student, um, that would have been great. Like I really have to like thank my mentor teacher who just helped me throughout the rest of the year by giving me some like instead of doing the thing which normally happened with mentor teachers for the rest of the students, which is like they only ask you to normally they only ask you to see you once every quarter year to check up on you. But in special cases like mine or other students which would have been lacking behind or having issues with accessibility, like one of my friends, for example, has issues walking. Um, but yeah, like we got like both of us got called in more often to make sure that we were okay and that we were safe and stuff like that, and that we can like mentally keep up or physically keep up with the rest of the students. It was quite great to have like that kind of support to get through school. I probably
Uh,
wouldn't have passed through school if I hadn't did not have it.
you mentioned that you actually failed 1 year of school before this. Is that so? When you say you probably wouldn't have passed, is that based on experience?
Yeah. Like that year, I basically put my all into it without having the kind of support I had in like the 2 years after, like including the retake year. Um, and I got myself like super worked up, and I still managed to fail. And like I knew before all of my grades came in that because I failed one specific subject, that I was like that year was done for. I was at my mom's at that point, like specifically at my stepdad's where my mom was, and like I just we were like hanging out there. I don't remember why, and like I got that grade, and just my mom found me crying because I was not like I was had worked so hard on that test, and I just couldn't make it. So I kind of low-key had a meltdown. Mom took me to take ice cream after, which was kind of nice of her. But yeah, like I failed that year, and I do realize that if I didn't have the support hold ons that the other 2 years had, I probably would have failed
Do
again.
you imagine other people with the same problems, maybe autism, um, in your situation? And do you imagine that if they didn't have that, there are also like other people who are in your situation and who can't get through your schooling?
Yeah, there's probably a quite a large crowd of people that have like either studying disabilities or like I think mine was actually a mix of my autism and my ADHD. I just realized um that just straight up get left to the wayside because they can't keep up. They don't get like that extra hand to pull them over that cliff. They have to pull them
S-
up themselves, and it just doesn't work. Like, there's probably people that have my disabilities that can make it work for themselves, but I was not one of those. And there's probably a few others that can't.
So tell me about your mentor teacher. How is that system different than in the US? And how did it
Um,
help you with accessibility?
I don't know how it's like how you guys have it in the US,
Oh,
actually, because like I don't like most of what I hear is from rom-coms and stuff like that, and like other stuff, high
that's
school fiction,
okay.
and I'm um, like most I hear is a room teacher, something, and you meet at the beginning of the day as an entire class to go over your schedule or something. I don't remember. What a mentor teacher is like is each year, each class you're in, you get a new mentor teacher for that class. Um, Actually, that doesn't sound right. Basically, each year you're in a class. That class gets a mentor teacher from the normal teacher group. Like you can get your math teacher as your mentor teacher. You can get your coach as your mentor teacher. Though that was rarer. My specific mentor teacher I mentioned for my last year was my French teacher. But yeah, like they get assigned to your class, and normally they check up on the class, make sure they know of events and stuff like that, like camps, trips, Christmas breakfast. I don't know. Um, but yeah, normally that's all they do. They check up on everyone once every quarter year to see how they're doing, how their grades are going, um, if they're mentally okay. But in special cases, they can decide to be like that person needs more help, and either during the mentor hour you have in your schedule, which is one of the classes you have in the week, uh, you can be put like said like you have to like come to this class every week if you need it, or even sometimes they can say, "I will meet with you on this and this day and with on this and this time as an extra thing in the week." So basically, mentor teachers are people that make sure you're like both mentally and physically well, and can keep track of things. My mentor teacher, aside from the exam thing, also helped me keep schedules and stuff like that straight.
Okay. You mentioned that you had all of this preparation for your exams and yet they were canceled from COVID. Can you imagine what you think it would have been like to still do those exams with those accessibility helps?
I probably would have passed with like slightly higher grades. Um, but if I were to compare my prediction, because I it's a prediction, I can't actually tell what would have happened. Um, with the accommodations I got, I probably would have passed them, and passed them quite well because I would have had more time to study and stuff like that. But without those preparations, I probably would have gotten overwhelmed with the sheer amount of information I would have had to memorize, uh, and just failed probably. Especially considering two of the subjects that you have to pass, to be able to pass permanently, were already pretty close to being very low grades. Like I'm still barely past those classes. So
Okay.
yeah,
Um, would you like anyone to know anything about this experience? Um, like other people?
just purely to keep in mind that not everyone can do the same things everyone else can. Like some people get left behind, and sometimes it's more useful to give them extra hand. Give them that hand to get over that cliff that is school or hell, even household tasks. I still get like help with household tasks over here. Like I'm under a company that makes sure I keep track of household tasks and keep myself fed and keep my monetary stuff in under control. So yeah,
And that's
not
another
everyone.
form of accessibility?
Yeah, it's a form of therapy over here, I believe. Basically, what happens is I rent an apartment, but instead of renting the apartment directly from the people that rent out the apartment, the company that does that, I don't remember what that is called in English. Um, it is
Yeah.
probably also something completely different than you guys have over there. Instead of renting directly from that company, I rent from the company that I get therapy from, and they rent it from. They temporarily rent it from the other place and will give me the apartment if I'm done with the therapy. And technically, I could maybe live without the therapy now, because I'm a lot more stable than I used to be. But yeah, they're just people that come by every at least once a week, but oftentimes multiple times a week to make sure that I'm like basically still alive and just taking care of myself.
That's
Yeah,
nice. Uh,
it's quite nice.
do you have any hope for the future related to this kind of accessibility? The school one, not the company.
Yeah, just the fact that it will happen more often, especially for like just not even just my demographic of like autism, ADHD, and stuff like that, but just also like other people that will need it. Just the fact and like because I think my school was an outlier in that from the amount of horror stories you hear about like autistic kids that just straight up get left behind. So just my wish is that less people will get left behind purely because they can't keep up with the standard amount of help they get. Because the standard amount of help that everyone gets, the standard like the amount of help that like everyone gets at the same time is well, for some people it might work. For some others, it might be too much, but for a lot, it can also be way too little. So yeah, I wish they would keep more track of like how much accessibility other like people need, how much like help, how much assistance. I don't know,
Okay.
because
Thank
the
you,
same amount of
Iris.
yeah.
Oh, is there anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, just mostly for people to keep in mind that the same amount of existence for that works for one kid will not help another kid at all. So yeah, just keep that. Like I hope people keep that in mind.
Thank you.
My school definitely did, and it was nice. So yeah, sorry if I rambled on a bit in this interview, by the way.
No, no, it's fine. Did that's good. We want to hear your input. Anyway, I'm
All right,
going to stop the recording now.